Hi everybody, Carissa here with Inky Fairy Designs, and today I'm creating a simple one-layer watercolor card using Paige from the Prima Bloom collection. I am stamping her in Versafine Onyx black ink. That's my go-to ink for any time I'm doing watercoloring. The watercolor I'm using today are the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Pens. I have the 60 set, and you can see how it comes here in this box. And I'm using these Strathmore watercolor cards. They come pre-scored, and it's a 5x7 card. So I'm just inking up my stamp, and then I'm going to stamp her onto the watercolor card, and then we'll get started coloring. I have had the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens for a couple of weeks now, and I've been sharing pictures on Instagram of different things that I've colored using them. And I know that I've had a lot of questions from people asking me what I think about them and how do I like them, and so I figured that since I was doing this video, I would go ahead and kind of explain what I like about them, what I've learned from using them, because it's a new medium for me. I mean, I use watercolors a lot, but this particular pen was new for me, and there was a definite learning curve. At first, when I first got them and I started coloring with them, I wasn't impressed. I was just like, oh my gosh, why is everybody getting such beautiful um, effects? And so I realized that it's just a learning curve, and you just have to play with them like any other new medium that you would use. So I will have all of the colors listed on my blog post, as well as the YouTube description below, so you can see all the colors that I'm using. I don't want to really go into what color I'm using here or there, but I will have them all listed in case you are curious. So the first thing that I learned when I started using them, when I first got them, I pulled them out of the box. I was super excited to start coloring with them, and I stamped an image and I started coloring by laying down the marker color, and then I was using my Winsor & Newton Series 7 watercolor brushes. They're stable brushes. And just like I would any other watercolor medium, I would dip my brush into water, and then I would try to pull out the color, and I just wasn't getting the blending and the fluidity that I had seen on other projects. So I was frustrated, but then I looked around and I thought, well, let me try a water brush. So I got a water brush, and as soon as I started using it, I got the effects that I was looking for. I realized that these inks for me need to have a lot of water on top of them to really activate it, get them flowing, and get them blending. And so you can see here that I'm able to lay down a color of this peacock blue onto the hair all over, and then I can come in with another color right on top. This is black, and I take the water brush and I blend it out, and I'm able to do that kind of two-color blending right on top of the image like that. So that was really cool. Really like that. The hair on this image is really what made me stop and think about how different and how unique and how cool these markers are. Before that, I wasn't sure if I even liked them, if they would be something that I would use on a regular basis. But when I colored this image and I laid down that black, and I use my paper towel to kind of lift some of that pigment and that extra water off of the color, or off of the paper, I saw that it left behind some very unique color variations. It wasn't just black on top of the blue. I actually got some browns from that black. So the color separates, and you can get some really unique variations using these markers, which was pretty cool to me. That's something that I love about them. It's something that I love about watercolors in general, is that the feel of the organicness of, you never really know what you're going to get. At least that's how I feel about them, and that's something that I really love and why I'm drawn to watercolors in general. To learn more about how these work, my friend Dina Cowell did a video explaining them and a kind of a review on them, and that video really opened my eyes as far as the general uniqueness of this marker. And I think it's a great video. She goes into more depth about why the colors separate and what they do and how they work. And she's more of a fine artist than I am. I'm just a crafter that loves to color. And so I highly recommend watching her video, which I will link to in the YouTube description below, if you are like everybody else out there and very interested in these markers and curious and want to know more and want to know if it's something that you want to actually add to your collection. So you can see that I lay down the color onto my paper. My paper is dry when I'm laying down the first coat of color. And then I go in with the watercolor brush and I pull out that pigment to create the light and the shades. One of the things that I really like about the markers is that they do have that real brush tip. It's in the name, it's what they have, and I can go into the damp paper like you see here that I'm doing with these pink flowers, and I can add more of that pigment right onto the damp paper. That's something that is unique to these type of markers, and I really like that about them. So that's definitely something to take into consideration if you are thinking about getting these markers. One of the things that kind of, and this is nothing to do with the product, it's just the nature of how you have to color with them, is that you're switching back and forth between the marker and your water brush, or even your paintbrush if you decide that's the way that you want to go. You can color with them without water. You can definitely use them just like a pure marker and get some really beautiful blending like that. But I love the watercolor look. That is what I love about watercolors. If I want a more of a marker look, I'm gonna go for my Copics. I'm just being real here. So that's not how I'm gonna use these markers. I'm gonna use them to get that watercolor look. So I have to go back and forth between the markers, laying down the color, and then going in with my water brush and pulling it out and blending. So it takes more time to color this way, which is not really a big deal because coloring is soothing and relaxing and I love doing it, but that's just something to consider. Also, I'm having some issues with my hands. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's hard for me to hold a pen or a marker for extended periods of time. And so by the time I got done with this image, my hands were really hurting. Now that's something that is just personal to me. It does not reflect this product at all. It's just something that I realized after I colored a larger image like this. I don't know if I would, I really love her hair on this image. This is what really made me stop and think, okay, I might want to keep these in my collection to use because it's just so pretty. And I love that variation that I got from the black on top of the blue. So that is something that is kind of giving me pause and really, I'm really liking from this marker. So I wanted to show you, I thought the flowers were a little bit too bright for the broodiness of her hair that I loved so much. So I'm going in with a light gray marker and I'm just kind of adding some more shadows to it and pulling it out, and that's really toning down the pink and the yellows on the flowers. And I like that I can go on top with a completely different color, and it doesn't seem to affect the color that I laid down before. So you can see that in the hair as well. So definitely I like that about these markers. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed my little tutorial, kind of not a tutorial, but just my thoughts on these markers. Here's some close-ups of the image itself. Like I said, that hair is really the showstopper of this image. I love it so much. I added some clear Wink of Stella to the flowers for some added shimmer and shine. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it and learned a little bit more about how these markers work. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.